Today, we're diving into a framework that's trying to solve one of the biggest paradoxes in modern energy. It's a system called Forerunner, and it's designed to be a settlement layer for all the surplus power we're generating.
Okay, let's just get right into it with a question that's kind of mind-boggling when you think about it. Why, in an age where we're desperate for clean power, is our most abundant source of it literally being thrown away?
So you've got this really weird situation, right? On one side, we are just flooded with renewable energy. Solar and wind are booming like we've never seen before. But then you look over here, and you've got these massive industries, especially AI, that are absolutely starving for more electricity. It just doesn't add up.
And look, we're not talking about some small hiccup in the system. The source material we're looking at calls this the single greatest coordination failure of our era. That's a huge claim. It means we're looking at a massive structural problem, not just a little technical glitch.
So, if it's a giant coordination failure, how do you even begin to fix it? Well, Forerunner's approach is pretty clever. They're basically creating what they call a courtroom for energy, a decentralized system that's built to do three things: observe the facts, judge what happened, and then settle what to do with all this extra power. And they really stick with this trial analogy. The whole system is broken down into three clear layers. You've got your witness, you've got your judge, and then you've got the final sentence. We're going to walk through exactly how each one works.
Okay, so here's the quick overview. First up is the witness, whose only job is to establish the physical truth of what happened. Then comes the judge, who takes all that evidence and delivers a final, unchangeable verdict. And last, you have the sink, which carries out the sentence by putting that energy to good use. Witness, judge, sink. Got it? All right, let's dig into each one.
First up, the witness. This is layer one, and its job is super specific. It just observes and reports the cold, hard facts. We're not talking about models or predictions here. It's all about establishing the physical truth of what energy assets were available, where they were, and for how long.
And this is where you really see the difference it makes. You know, the way things are done now is basically guesswork. We're estimating a battery's charge, we're assuming a power source is ready based on a schedule. The Forerunner system, its PEI layer, just throws all that out. Instead, it gives you verifiable, physical proof, an actual audit trail. It's a difference between saying, I think so, and I know so.
So the witness has presented the evidence. The facts are on the table. Now it's time for the judge. This is the second layer, and it's a settlement engine that takes all that physical truth and issues a final binding verdict on what happened to that surplus energy.
And believe me, this judge doesn't just make a snap decision. There's a really strict 5-step process. It looks at the raw data, it pulls in the physical evidence from the witness, it applies a set of totally transparent rules, bundles it all into auditable time slots, and then, and this is the key part, it issues that final verdict. It's a permanent digital record that says, yep, clean energy was available right here, and it went unused. Case closed.
Now, there's this really important idea here called post hoc neutrality. What that means is the system is strictly read-only. It can't flip a switch, it can't control hardware, it can't mess with the energy markets at all. You might think that's a weakness, but it's actually its greatest strength. It lets the system completely sidestep all the regulatory red tape that tangles up everyone else. Its power comes from its inability to interfere.
Okay, we've got a verdict. The court has decided that clean energy was wasted. So, now what? That brings us to the third and final layer, the sink. This is where the sentence gets carried out, and that wasted energy is finally put to work, but in a really smart way that decouples it from the live grid.
This quote from the source material just nails it. This layer, called EtherMind, does real, irreversible digital work. Think complex AI calculations. But it does it without being directly connected to the grid. It's not consuming the live electricity, it's consuming the verdict that surplus electricity existed. See the difference? This means AI can scale like crazy using waste energy without ever putting stress on the grid itself. So we get how the tech works. Witness, judge, sink. But now let's talk about the so what. Why does this actually matter? How do these settled verdicts unlock real-world progress in massive industries like AI, green hydrogen, and microgrids? Well, the impact is actually huge, and it spreads out across the board. For small microgrids, it gives them the hard data they need to get funding and grow. For the AI boom, it creates a safe lane for them to expand without breaking the grid. For regulators, it's a source of neutral, fact-based data they can actually trust. And for the green hydrogen sector, well, this is an absolute game changer.
Yeah, let's just park on that for a second. The whole green hydrogen economy is basically built on government incentives. But to get those billions of dollars, producers have to prove, without a shadow of a doubt, that they used clean surplus energy. Without this kind of rock-solid, auditable accounting, all of that capital just stays locked away. This verifiable proof is the key.
This all leads us to the big picture, the core investment thesis behind this entire model. It's all about creating something called truth with finality, a concept that might just be powerful enough to de-risk the whole energy transition.
Truth with finality. Just let that sink in for a second. The idea is so simple, but it's incredibly powerful. When you create a record of what happened with energy that is undeniable and final, you just erase the doubt. You get rid of the arguments and the political risk that scare away big, long-term investors.
And the system is built to last. It has what you might call 3 core moats, 3 big advantages that make it really tough to copy. First, it's grounded in physical hardware, not just software. Second, that read-only neutrality keeps it out of regulatory nightmares. And third, it has that unique, decoupled way for AI to safely use up surplus energy. It's a pretty solid defense.
So when you boil it all down, what's the big takeaway? This whole system is designed to take something we see as a liability, wasted energy, and turn it into a finalized, undeniable, and useful asset. And that leaves us with one last, pretty provocative question to chew on. If energy waste becomes an undeniable asset, what's next?